Hello and welcome to Constance Messmer and my life. I'm so stoked to see you all. It's fabulous and so great to see you. And I just want you to know that you see how like multi-talented I am. I'm answering and making comments through the thread as me, and I'm also here talking to you. So this is like how I multitask. No, actually, that's my sister Kathy in the comment thread speaking on my behalf to you to remind you how much you are so loved and how much I appreciate your being here. So if you've just tuned in, I am Constance Messmer. I have done psychic and channeling and mediumship work for 30 years as a career, 30 plus years as a career. And I've had mystical experiences my entire life. And I really want to teach you how to access the same material for yourselves. And every now and again, I do these live sessions, and I'm just really excited that people like Mimi and Katie are here and that you appreciate the lives as much as I do. I'm just really grateful for you. And so I'm glad that you're here to be a part of this. And I just want to tell you in advance there is like one thing that is awful to have happen to someone that does my line of work. And I bet you can't even guess what that is. The awful thing is um, pollen season. Pollen season because I woke up with this pounding headache and I can't take allergy medicine. Otherwise, I'll be like, just a bucket of nothingness. I'll be so like out of body, sleepy, sleepy, sleepy. So I've just taken some Tylenol, which is my go-to pounding headache medicine, as well as coffee. And I'm just going to do my best today, which is all that we can do, right? And so I want to take some time to actually thank you again for coming into this live session with me today and being a part of it. And I don't know how many people are tuning in right now, but I'm just going to wrap this whole experience in light before we begin. I'm going to wrap the whole experience in light, and I'm going to ask you to take a minute to do the same and to just extend all of this yummy energy that we can experience here in connecting and learning about our soul potential, your soul potential. I want to ask you to expand that out to wrap the whole world in light and love because we definitely need it now, right? Always, but definitely times like this. So I just want to take a moment to beam out that love and light to you and to anyone that essentially really needs it to, really start surfing the higher fields and realms so that they too can access greater knowing, greater truth, and rightful living. So, with that, what I'd like to do is to go into the questions.
Hello, and welcome to the Constance Messmer podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hey, look at this hair. It's so funny. It always drives me crazy, the hair. Listen, when I get these questions, I just first of all want to thank all of you that are subscribing and are channel members on the YouTube. That really helps me and supports me in doing the work and putting this content out to you. As you know, if you're following my lessons, I'm offering free teachings. Really, you don't have to buy a bundle of classes. You could just go to the playlist, go through and start from the beginning if you want to be really astute and keen on all the information. That's why I've laid it out in a particular order. Or you can pick and choose areas that really resonate with you to enhance your own skills. And I just want to remind you of that playlist and that opportunity. And just say thank you, especially to the channel members and the subscribers. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do. It helps the channel a lot, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to get into the first question. This came from a Light and Love member, Tammy. all the way from Ohio. And she is a Midwest person, just like me. So that's kind of fun. And the question that came in, though, was actually, I just need to know what are my abilities exactly, or is it my ego? And I don't want to do a private reading to ascertain that information specifically for you, Tammy. And I know you entered in several questions that I hope to get to some of them. Um, but this is just a sample reminder that I'm not going to answer private questions that would cause me to do readings on people, but I'd prefer to just stick with content related questions so that they can um, be benefited. The answer can be beneficial to everyone. Do you see how I am? It's because my eyes are puffy, because all the pollen in the air, and I'm just like trying to go, oh, come on, click in caffeine and Tylenol if my head hurts. I'm like, oh my God, pollen season is the worst. I usually should, that's when I should just take a break from the work. I tell you, it's so bad. Listen, I think I've had to cancel like two sessions in my past when I did this as a career job based on, oh my God, it's pollen season and I've got ferocious headaches. But anyway, so it's so funny. So, but Tammy, I will answer your question this way. She just wants to know what her abilities are exactly. And my friends, the way any of you can look into that or really go your own kind of mechanism is to look through the master playlist that I offer on YouTube and check out the videos that have to do with the individual exercises on each of the 11 soul senses and put those exercises and skill building exercises to a test to that will help you discern so that will help you discern where you're really proficient and what you want to work on. And sometimes it's doing them for a whole week, right? Really putting, hey, Kelly, really putting them to practice for a whole week so that you can say, okay, I'm actually pretty good at this. This is fine. This is good. And so definitely go to the master playlist, go to the individual exercises for each of the 11 soul senses and work with that on your own. You'll be able to then discern where your strong suits are and where you need to work with it. And then if you decide, like, let me think, Tammy, you might be really skilled at clairsensation. And so you might want to enhance that by doing maybe a Reiki class or an energy healing class. Because sometimes if you work with clairsensation, you might be like me, where you realize, oh, when I get close to someone's energy field, I'm able to really have all of your I have this is you talking, have all of my other Claire sensations, like Claire skills coming in. God, I am so you see this is Constance on pollen. So do the exercises and figure out which one. I didn't want to cancel today though. I just feel like such a slug. So do the exercises, figure out which one is best for you, and then maybe go further study. Like with if it's clear sensation, then go study an energy healing class because that will allow you to use that skill to as an entry gateway into the other 11 soul senses to get information to really help you refine it. And so that was my gateway into the work was studying Reiki. If you've followed me, Tammy, then you know my other lessons where I've mentioned that before. My Reiki journey really helped to solidify my work as a healer, as a medium, as a channel, as a reader, messenger. And so it was really beneficial. Tammy, I like your other questions. I will definitely get to them. Miss Ohio, friend of mine that's a member in Light and Love, but I'm going to break it up a little bit. So, um, listen, I also want to say if you've sent in a question recently, I'm getting tons of questions. So if you've sent one in that I don't necessarily cover in today's live, I might cover it in a future episode, or it may be that it's actually been covered in a previous episode, or it's going to come up in a future episode, right? Do you know what just happened there? I told Spirit, I said, I have two conversations going on. I'm talking to you, looking to the questions, but I'm also talking to Spirit going, you got to sort this because I am slogging and and I'm like, just do full body channel takeover. Totally. Yay. That's awesome that you're good, that you're going to look into the videos. So take time to look through the playlist to see maybe I've already answered your question. And some of your questions that have come in deserve a longer response than what I would want to do on a live, a real detailed response. So I might take the opportunity to provide future future lessons based on that. Uh, Okay, so I'm going to here's Tammy again. Here you are again. And this was a really cool question. You said a lot of things, and then you said, when I meditate and try to connect with spirit, I've gotten some images. That's awesome because I have aphantasia, which I think you can't then visualize. And it's so neat to actually be able to visualize something in my mind's eye, because aphantasia, probably you're not able to. So, but now you're starting to be able to do that. However, I can't hold the image for long. And the strangest part is I always get a quick image of people coming at me with their hands out, and it startles me out of the connection. What is this, if anything? So, a couple things. Sometimes our soul senses come to us in fleeting ways and we can't hold it. So, practice makes perfect in holding the connection, holding the connection. The more you do this as a spiritual practice, the greater and stronger you'll be at any of those soul senses. And so I encourage you to work this as a dedicated practice of psychic development, you know? And so when you've had an experience like people coming at you with your hands out, and you've left the experience and disconnected because it was frightening or weird or whatever, you were like, oh my God, what was that? And then you're like awake and alert in third dimension again. You can always go back to that experience and say, what was that? And you can ask that of those people. You can ask that of your own wise self. Like, what was that about? Who was that? What is that? Or you can ask your own guides and angels to give you messages throughout the week or whatever as to who those people were coming at you. Now, listen, I just want you to be open to the answer that comes. And I'm going to give this answer based on a couple of other people that are going to hear this video also. People that are coming at you in spirit realm could be people from your own past, your own family past, that want to come through and say, oh my gosh, there you are, help us, or whatever. You're hearing us, you're tuning in, here we are. Or it could be that they're beings that might come to you in future reading sessions, or it could be that you've tapped into a window of other realms of reality or planes of existence. So it could be any number of these things. I'm not going right into you, Tammy, to tell you exactly what was happening in your experience, because that would be a read. But I am telling you what any of these could be, what could happen there. My hair just is driving me nuts. And so I'm like, maybe it's my hair clip that's giving me the headache too. So whatever. So you can ask your angels and your guides, like, who are those people that are coming to me when I recently tuned in? And they'll be able to tell you. And trust the first thing you get. It might not be a visual thing since you're not visualizing easily. It might be a knowing or a ClairAudience where they're like, okay, it's specifically this. So you can ask after the session itself, what was that about? Right? Because you're always linked in with your soul. So I hope that answers your question enough. This next question is about ClairAudience, and it comes in from Peter, who is in the Middle East. And Peter says he tries to practice his ClairAudience, but he doesn't hear voices at all. He instead hears frequencies and vibes. And most of the time, people say they hear voices. I like how I get the vibes and everything, but are there any tips for practicing something that I haven't had experience or heard before, like voices? So, Peter, I'm kind of translating what you said. So, a few things, and I will definitely have future videos on this lessons, because this happens to some people, right? They hear clairaudiently, but they don't necessarily hear voices or words in the way that some clairaudient people do. And so if you're hearing in tones or ringing in the ears, first of all, you have to discern whether or not the ringing in the ear is a medical condition called tinnitus. And so those of you that know about that can recognize that experience. Now, what I would do in those situations, and even for you, Peter, is, are you consciously trying to make that connection? And in those moments where you're trying to consciously make the connection, that's when you hear the frequencies or vibes. That's fine. That means you're hearing presence around you. So in those experiences, you're still in communication, right? But those of you that are not asking for a connection and are randomly hearing that, you might say, what is that? Close your eyes, put your hands on your heart, tune into your wise self and say, what is that sound? Or you can ask the sound itself, what is that? Who are you? Who are you? If you're getting it's a someone, right? then you can say to them, great, got the connection. You're going to use my other lessons on clear sensation and clear sentiment to understand that they're a being that you want to connect with, that it's a viable connection. And you're going to say to them, I need you to change the way you communicate with me. I need a translator to translate what you're trying to tell me. Typically, when it's a spirit that's coming through, like a loved one that's crossed, that's someone else's loved one, usually they even though they might speak a or a native tongue, a foreign tongue that you don't necessarily get. If you're supposed to comprehend it, it'll come rippling through the ethers in your native tongue so that you can comprehend it. This has happened to me before in mediumship sessions where I've tuned into people that only speak, Hungarian, and I don't speak Hungarian, but the information comes to me in English. I think, was it Houdini that didn't believe in mediumship or struggled with mediumship because, his grandparents or whoever only spoke that native tongue, and the person heard it in English, and he was like, "Oh, it's not, can't be real because that's not the language they speak." But dude, they are working through the ethers to get the message across. So they're going to use whatever means they can. So sometimes spirits come through with loud noises or ringing or vibrational pulses or vibes and frequencies, Peter, like you hear, to just get our attention first. And the biggest thing is to sit with them and slow down, tell them to slow down and say, I really hear you around me, but I need to have it come to me in a way that I can comprehend it. And also too, you can say, if this is your native tongue, right? Wherever they're from, say, I need a translator so that I can understand it in English, or translate it to claircognizance so I know what it is you're trying to tell me. Angels do not always speak my native tongue is English, so they don't always speak clairaudiently to me in English words. Often it's a vibration of claircognizance that comes through. So if that's the case with you, then it's about leaning into what they're saying on a vibrational frequency. It's the only way I could explain that. So, Peter, it really is about sitting with them in practice and maybe having back and forth dialogue so that you're asking clear questions or asking for clear guidance so that when you hear frequencies and vibes, you're understanding what that's about. So I don't know if because I'm not tuning in to do a read, I don't know if you're actually just going about and trying to tune in clairaudiently to everywhere, and therefore what you're hearing are the frequencies or vibes. But you could still certainly ask, what are those vibes that I'm hearing? What are those frequencies that I'm hearing? Because you could be hearing all sorts of different things, and I'm not going to say because because I want you to find out. I don't want to tell you. So I want to thank all of you that are watching this on all my platforms. I really appreciate it. And if you could do me a huge favor, if you could hit the subscribe button, that really helps the content go in greater directions so that I can keep offering this to you for free because I'm trying to get sponsors. And they look at numbers, and numbers come from subscribers. So I appreciate that. That helps me out a lot. So share, like, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. So, Peter, I hope that helps you and anyone else that hears not necessarily words, but frequencies. Sometimes for me, I've heard those kind of things to get my attention to understand what that frequency is about. And again, I don't want to say to you because it's been pretty outlandish what my response from spirit realm has been. And I don't want to create a narrow mind in your perspective, Peter, that it's specifically one thing or another. I want you to find out for yourself. So definitely continue to take the time to sit, recognize if you're doing it just in your day-to-day life, just trying to tune in, or if you're just sitting in guided meditation time to connect with spirit, to actually hear clairaudiently. And you can, words, and you can actually say to them, listen, thanks for coming. I had this guide that came through and he was like, he spoke in vibration, and I say he, but there wasn't really a sex, male or female. It was just this vibration, and it was an off-planet being that I had known in another frequency lifetime that I was off-planet. And I was like, listen, I get this. And I had to do a lot of you know claircognizance connection to get the information through. But I was like, this takes too long for me, so I need you to start communicating in words. And so we had to work with each other's vibration so that I can match the frequency that it was coming in. But it was cool. He came in specifically to help me read vibrational frequencies on bodies when I was doing Reiki. So there you go, Peter. God only knows what you're up to. It's cool stuff, I'm sure, but stay with it. I'm telling you, stay with it. Practice, practice, practice. So thanks for that question, Peter, who's hanging out in the Middle East and tuning in. I appreciate you. So this next one's actually about hearing your spirit team clairaudiently. And if you've just tuned in, I want to remind you that that's my sister Kathy, the comment liaison, who's in the chat as me, because I can't right now be in two places at once like that, like typing, because I'm like here with spirit, connecting to you and reading the questions. It's so fun. So thanks, Kathy, for chatting with people. And thanks, Chris, who's also helping direct people to videos, perhaps, or whatnot. If you're new to the material, you might want to look at the playlist in YouTube. I offer a full course of teaching on this material so that you can become proficient in your skills with your soul senses. I think we're all psychic. I know we are. Okay, so this next question comes in from a listener in Pennsylvania. And this one is about hearing your spirit team and what kind of interferences might happen. And bear with me, this one is sad to read, but I'm going to read it verbatim. Can living with a verbally abusive narcissist prevent us from hearing our spiritual team since we're in shutdown protective mode all the time? Question mark. I'm tuned in spiritually, empathically, and claircognizance, and I'm a Reiki master. But clairaudience eludes me, and I would love that verbal type of support over vagueness. Thanks. And again, this is from a listener in Pennsylvania. First of all, I'm sorry that you're going through this. I wish everybody was healed and whole and kind. Oh, so bless you. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Healing vibes out to you for persevering, living with the verbally abusive, narcissistic being person. Can it prevent you from hearing your spirit team? Can that prevent you from hearing your spirit team if you because you're in shutdown and protective mode? Yeah, it can because if you're in shutdown and protective mode, then you might not be trusting what you're getting clairaudiently. Because you've got those tapes of that person kind of rolling in your head. My first advice would be to, I'm not a therapist, but I wonder why you're living with that person. And if you don't have a choice, maybe get outside help in some form for yourself while also praying for them. I'm sending light to that person to be like, go get healing, go get healing. You need healing for those matters. But also, too, what I would do is start working on your spiritual practice outside of your living space. I get that you do already, but I would really use your prayerful meditation time to tune in far away out of the environment of the home so that you can have opportunity to really dive in like a beam of light to the thread that you're connecting with. So your thing is to really work and ask to be connected to the highest being that's aligned with your truth that can come forward through all the muck that you're dealing with to really work with you on clairaudient communication through hearing words. And so you can ask this, right? And you can ask this, and you're going to use your empathic skills to tune into that specific guide that shows up to know whether or not it's a guide that you really want to work with. You're going to feel it, clear sensation, right? You're going to feel elated and yummy and all the good things, joy, peace, love. You might cry. And then you're going to ask, how often can we work together? I need to really work with you on clairaudience. And you might, first of all, get this as a knowing with claircognizance, but you're going to ask that you be directed through clairaudience to be able to hear it. And so this will be good. So right now, I want to take a moment. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, so I will be right back when you're ready. We'll be right back. And we're back. Unfortunately, not on YouTube. So look at everybody. I hope you're finding me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. This is where I'm also doing the live. So I'm excited that you're sticking this out. I've decided to keep going, even though for whatever reason, YouTube is not cooperating. So I hope you're finding me and we're finding each other like we already have. So many of you have said, "Oh my God, I wished for a teacher," and then you showed up in my feed. I'm like, yay. Yay. So just backtracking with the listener in Pennsylvania that's asking about really fine tuning clairaudience skills and wanting verbal support over vagueness of the other ways that she's getting information. I really know that if you keep working with a specific team and say that you really want to work on your clear audience, that it will happen. But it really is about showing up. And because you're dealing with a really upsetting living situation, I would remove yourself from the situation when you're doing your spiritual practice. And like I said, I'm not doing a psychic read on why you're still there. I wish you didn't have to be there, but maybe it's an adult child or something and you have no choice or whatever the story is. So I'm just praying for you, sending light and love that you are going to have all the help that you can magically get in whatever way. So I'm going to actually ask the angels, can you help her, my listener in Pennsylvania, kind of have an easier life right now because she's having a rough go. So whatever that means, circling it all with light and love to help you. But most certainly, your initial question is can living with this type of person, an abusive person, can that actually kind of shut down or not allow us to hear, prevent us from hearing our spirit team because we're in shutdown or protective mode? Absolutely, because you're probably waiting for the other shoe to drop. So you're scattered, right? You're in two places. You're not able to focus only on your spirit team because you're wondering, you're always navigating the other person's energy, right? You're caretaking the other person's energy. And that can be exhausting, right? God bless you. That can be exhausting. So that's why I'm suggesting perhaps you can find a space outside the home to just really dedicate to your spiritual practice, dedicate to your work time, and in regards to developing your psychic skills. So that would be great, especially because I think you have so much to offer, especially as a Reiki master. Rock on. Love Reiki. I too am a Reiki master. I love it. I love it. I used to do psychic Reiki, teach that. Like, here's how you tune in. So good luck to you. My heart goes out to you. So, if you've just joined us, my name is Constance Messmer. I have had mystical experiences my entire life. I used to do psychic work, mediumship, channeling, healing work for 30 years professionally, off and on, but mostly on. Because even when I wasn't doing it for money to clients, I was writing material on it and doing it in the ethers or doing professional business consulting. So that was nice. I've been active in it, but now I've turned my attention to teaching lessons. And if you follow me, you can find my lessons on Spotify or YouTube. And I'm trying to teach everything I know because I think we're all psychic. We're all capable of having these experiences. We're all mystics. And I want you to remember and recognize the moments in your life where you're having these experiences from your soul senses and your ability to work with it to enhance your own life and better your own life in a million countless ways. So, well done, you. The next question is about Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is real. I work with Archangel Michael all the time. I remember the first time I called in Archangel Michael, I was like, "Are you real? Look at how bad I am." I'm like, "Are you real?" Huge, huge. Like for me, my visual impression of Archangel Michael was like 14 feet. Huge energy, total blinding light. It was in a church. And and I was like, "What?" before mass, and I was like, "What?" And I don't know what your images of Saint Michael are, because I think when spirit shows up for us, it's through our own, understanding and awareness, right? This is how it can happen, and they're just trying to, especially angels, because they are pretty profound light and they can take whatever form necessary to get the message through to us. So it was huge. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I was like, all right, can I work with you? So that's been fun. through the years. So this question comes in from Nicole in Indiana, another Midwestern. Um, I think I've been through the town where you live in. I have family in Indiana. Shout out to my family in Indiana. Question is, how do you set boundaries? Do you just speak them out loud or in your mind? I speak them in my mind. I definitely speak them in my mind all the time. Um, yeah, I do. That's how I do it. And then Nicole goes on to say, I had an experience last night after calling in Archangel Michael for protection. I felt a profound rush of air on my right side of my face by my ear. My right ear started ringing very loud. It startled me. I started with the Lord's Prayer, asking if Archangel Michael, are you there? Then my left ear started ringing. I don't know if I was being moved to a higher frequency or they wanted me to experience the experience. But nighttime has always scared me. I wasn't expecting it, and it has not happened before. So, a few things, Nicole. I get it. Nighttime used to scare me when I was little, so I would pray the rosary to fall asleep. It was my protection. So, definitely watch the psychic protection video that I have. And I think it might talk about setting boundaries. I'll have future videos and past videos that you could look into, lessons. And I should probably start with the how do I set boundaries internally or externally? Do I say them out loud or in my mind? You got to do what's right for you in whatever situation. In very scary situations when I've come across like, oh my God, I've said things out loud. Um, when I first started this work and early on in my life, I knew I was protected in my life. But when I first started doing this work, I knew that things were going to get a little sticky or tricky at times. And so I said, keep me clear, keep my ego out of it, and let me know how to ask for help when I need to. Help me recognize that I need help and then tell me how I should ask for it, right? And give me the words to say. And so that still holds true. I still do that. So I encourage you, Nicole, to do the same. So, yeah, you called on St. Michael and you asked if he was there, and you got these ringing in your ear and the higher frequency things. These are all vibrational pitches so that you could turn your attention to what you've already called on. So I think it's fabulous, definitely. Um, so what you can do is recognize in the moment, was the experience at all scary to you because it was new to you, or was it scary to you by chance because the being that was coming around was scary? I actually get it was Saint Michael. I think you're totally fine. So I think that the experience was new to you, so it was um it kind of jostled you. You don't say that you were scared of the experience. You just say nighttime usually scares you. But I'm just saying for any listener that you have to discern, is this experience scary or is the being scary? And in this situation, the being was not scary at all. And what I would do, in even now you could do, is you could close your eyes, put your hands on your heart and say, Michael, was that you? And don't you hear? Of course it was me. You asked for me and I showed up. You, Nicole, you just ask and I'll show up. It's what I do. I love you. Yeah, totally. You got so many angels around you, Nicole. It's like pretty amazing. I'm moved by it. So whenever you're ready to do the work, girlfriend, you're well armed and suited. You're well armed and suited. So keep putting it all practice out there in whatever way you feel your soul is drawing you. Ask God, or your highest truth. I know for you it's God. Where do you want me? What do you want me to do in this work? Where do you want me to lead my life? You've done so many. Here I go, private read. You've done so many lifetimes of service. Oh my God. Oh my God. You've done so many lifetimes of service, Nicole from Indiana. You have. I'm crying inside. Um, you have. And so here you are again. Here you are again in a different way, same form, different way, form of light. And so I would definitely, if I were you, take the time to say, what do you ask of me? And journal it. Just journal it. Just trust what comes out. And then if you free write and just keep going, any of you that want to know what's my calling, just ask for the highest being or the highest truth or your soul guidance or God. What are you asking of me? And you're highest good and highest truth is aligned with God's force energy. So you're not asking, your intention is to get pure truth, right? And so allow it to free ride out of you. Don't judge it, just let it come, let it come. And you're going to start to feel the vibration of truth, the clear sensation connection, the clear sentiment connection of how it is and what truth feels like. And then afterwards, you're going to go back in and read what it says. And then you're going to troubleshoot anywhere where you feel like you dropped the ball and you misinterpreted or let ego interference happen. I think I have a video already out called Ego Interference. I think so. Or it's coming. I know I talked about it, so it's coming. I have like 130 plus episodes. So I'm like, wait, where's that episode? So any of you that like reach out to my sister Kathy or on the comment threads and they're like, tell me more about this. Kathy's like, go look in the playlist and kind of search up what you're after. Make sure you watch the videos, everyone. That's why I put them there. So again, I just want to take a moment to breathe. Thank you so much. So much. So the master list is on YouTube. If you're watching from Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, the master or the playlist is on YouTube channel, and you can look at all kinds of lessons that I've provided you to tune into your soul senses and how you could use these skills to better your life and our world, really. But you can better your life personally and professionally, and your vibration helps to bring the world to heightened states of awareness, which we need. Raw yay you. So this next question is on mediumship, sort of, but it's also other things. It's coming in from Katie in Anchorage, Alaska. It says Anchorage, USA. So I'm like, wait, isn't that Alaska? But you know what? It could be like some towns that are like in a million different states, in a few different states, but I'm thinking Alaska. So, yes, it is Alaska. There's the rest of the question. Oh my gosh, Con, go take your allergy medicine, will you? Okay. Katie says, how do I stop being afraid? I want to get into mediumship, but I'm afraid of what's out there. I tried to find a teacher, but Alaska is a bit sparse in mediumship teachers. So, how do I stop being afraid? Oh, yay, Katie! You're here. It's Alaska. I think that's you. I'm so glad. So, how do you stop being afraid? Trust that you were designed and made to do this, and you are perfectly in the right place to do this. And because you are like me, wanting to get it exactly right and perfect, you will not settle for less. So, you're going to work your skills hard so that you're like, all right, I really, you remember my early lessons on source of the information? It depends who you go to. I think it might be the meditation lesson where it's like, if you're going to sit in meditation, you have to really set the intention of who you want to talk to, and that only work with a high level guide. And so you're going to use all your soul sensibilities so that you won't be afraid. I think that people get afraid with mediumship because they're concerned that they're going to get into lesser beings or lesser beings. But with mediumship, if you're specifically talking about talking to people's loved ones and giving people messages from spirit, two different things. So you're the intermediary, so you're the medium because you're hearing messages from spirit, passing them to a living person, or you're even talking to someone loved one, passing it along. But you're going to know by the frequency of the vibration whether it's a being you want to talk to, a guide. You also want to recognize, because you're saying you're afraid, that you know that you're opening yourself up to all these frequencies that could come in and start talking to you, and then you're just like, oh my gosh. So you see, I'm trying to go in but not go in. Katie, to you in Anchorage. So what I would do is close your eyes, first of all, put your hands on your heart and ask, am I meant to do mediumship? Am I meant to help people with messages or make connections for people? And of course, Katie, you heard a yes, 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 yes. What do you think you've been doing your whole life, is what I hear. So you've been a helpful friend and messages have come through you. So I want you to learn the frequency of the realms. I'm going to help you with that so that you'll notice when you're in places of realms where it's higher frequencies, and those are the beings you want to connect with and talk with. But you've already studied my clair sensation and clair sentiment lessons, and you're noticing that, oh, if I'm having someone come around that I don't want to talk to, I'm just going to say, go away. I have no time for you. Go to the light, and you're going to ask your angels to come in and take them away or whatever. Listen, when I was doing, yeah. And you're also going to sit with your guides. You see what I just did there? You're also going to sit with your own guides and angels. And if you don't hear them or see them or feel them, you're going to work at that. And you're going to trust that they're there anyway. And you're going to say, keep me posted on how I can be protected and I can remain clear in the connection so that I can discern whether it's a being I want to talk to. Watch all my videos on discerning spirits and tricksters and all that stuff. Just watch those, know those inside and out. I won't test you, but you're going to want to know those with the back of your hand. That will stop you from being afraid. It will. If you listen to those and you adhere to those, you won't be afraid because you'll feel empowered. That's what this is about, feeling empowered. And I want you to lean into your clear sensation, which has to do with how does the connection feel, not only to you, but how do they feel as someone you want to connect with or a being you want to connect with. You're going to use clear sensation for the information you're getting. How does the information feel? Does it feel accurate and right and true, or is it cold and misted? So clear sensation is going to be your jam, right? I'm also going to get into mediumship more thoroughly in future lessons. And I'm going to take a pause because I know I was on a track in one direction and then I stopped. So I think don't let fear stop you, because I think you're called. I know you're called to this work. I think we all are. But I think you've already been a helpful friend, Katie. You've already been doing it. So you just want to do it as a professional, legitimate thing. And so definitely pay attention to all my lessons inside and out. You're going to work with all the soul senses. And so I would do the exercises that I have in my playlist. I think they'd be beneficial for you. And then stay tuned. I wanted to tell you more, but Spirit's like, no, don't, stop right there. Stop. You're going to give too much information, and there's timing for this. So she just asked about being afraid. That was it. I tend to give people more than they need. When I used to do readings and mediumship sessions for people, I would have to record them because the information that came through would come through so fast, and it would be really to cover a span of a few years. And so that's what I feel like I could do for you, Katie. So we're going to stop on the fear thing. Re-listen to what I said. I think it's going to be recorded so you can go back and listen. So if you've just joined us, my name is Constance Messmer. I've had mystical experiences my entire life. I feel my work is to teach you to lean into yours. And I've worked professionally with this since 1996. So thank you so much for sending in your content related questions. Many of you have been following me on my YouTube channel or on Spotify audio podcasts to learn not only what I've been through, but also to apply them to your life as I give you detailed lessons on soul senses and chakras and why it's all important to learn about them and know them if you want to live a full life and lean into your soul senses. We're body and soul, and if you only live through your physical senses, you're missing half your life. So a helpful book might be getting Some Dogs Talk, a book I wrote that has to do with animal communication, and soon there'll be more episodes on animal communication and inner psychic rapport or telepathic communication. Get your copy today. Click on the QR code that's in front of your screen. No, it's over there. That'll be helpful. Tony's story's my story. Those are stories from my own life. It was really helpful. I loved writing it. I wrote it in 2009 when my kids were young, and I couldn't work because I couldn't see people because I just didn't have the space. The other book that might be helpful is Your 11 Soul Senses, that I put out because it'll help you journal through your experiences as you try those exercises that are in the video, and then maybe spend a week on each one and use this to troubleshoot what you're going through. I think it'll be beneficial. And then I have in the merchandise under the shop all sorts of books, or not books, but journals, bullet point journals where you can sketch or write or kind of riff, right, with your guides and angels and God about areas of your life that you want to gain greater perspective on. Sometimes I source my own wise self for the material, that part of me that's connected and entwined to all that is. But sometimes I go to source or God, source energy, or great spirit, whatever you want to call it, all names, many names, all one. or I'll go to a specific guide if it's a certain part of my life. And later on in my teachings, I'm going to teach you more about the realms and how you can access each of them and what the experience in each of them are like. And we'll go into greater lessons about these experiences. So you're going to really want to look back at the old lessons and have those down tight. Otherwise, it's like trying to clep out of a college class when you're not ready, and you're going to want to be ready. Otherwise, you're going to be like, "What is she talking about?" And then you're going to type me questions, and I'm going to go watch those old episodes because I already talked about it. So thanks for bearing with me. I want you to know that you can send in your content related questions by going to my website, constancemesmer.com, and there's a section on questions or Ask Constance or I don't even remember. And you could include, please, your name and where you're viewing from or where you found me from. Like, what's your hometown? That would be great. I would love it. Plus, you could sign up for the newsletter and get my free Mesmer manifesting guide, Mesmer's manifesting guide. Listen, I could write a whole book on manifesting, but I'm going to give you some solid bullet points that you've probably not heard anywhere else. So I think it'll be really helpful. Okay, water break. This one comes in. Oh, this one is a really interesting question. I was like, this is not on my content, but I'm going to answer it anyway. This comes in from Sandy from Capitola. Hi, Constance. How would shamanic journeying and shamanic practices relate to what you teach? I think they really would. I know a couple of shamans that I adore and love, but I've never talked to them about this. I think that would be a great question. I should probably have that conversation. Maybe if I ever do interviews on my podcast, I'll ask them and have them in. But I imagine that they plug into their soul senses when they're reading and seeing and taking people on shamanic journeying, right? When they're going through those vibrational spaces of experience and looking at how they might heal someone or how they might carry someone to a shamanic journey, they're of course using all their soul senses, because that's the way we get the soul information. And so probably in these spaces of connection to vibration and earth energies, soul travel, coaching people along, they're going to be using all of their soul senses. So my material and my material and knowing it at a real foundational core is going to be helpful to shamanic journeying and shamanic practices. Although I'm not versed in them, right? I've been to a shamanic healer for a really cool piece of regression work here where I live. And then when I was in Peru, loved it. In the Amazon, loved it. Did a shamanic soul journeying, but they were using ayahuasca tea and it was not working for me. Like, did I tell you that story? There were like 20 people in the tent or something. I went with so many cool people from like South Africa and Belgium and God, just a ton of cool people. And we had all gone to this place. And so a spiritual retreat kind of experience in the shamanic journeying entailed drinking ayahuasca tea to release some, whatever, demons or gain your power back or all of these things. And we weren't brought into visionary experiences. We were meant to have our own by drinking the tea. And the shaman came over to me. Everybody's crying and wailing and laughing, and we're all laying flat in this platform tent, and they're all having these experiences, and they're on their rug, and I'm laying there and I'm going, nothing. And he comes up to me and he's like, "You got anything yet?" I'm like, "No, nothing." And he's like, "Drink more tea." So I think I drank like a tons of rounds of teas and nothing worked because I didn't need it, right? And I think I'm like super protected. And so that's how it worked for me. That was my exposure to shamans in that way. I think though that the ones that I've worked with and I've actually referred clients to them. I had someone that who had a son who no, it was yeah, I'm just going to say that, who took their own life. And so went over to do the mediumship communication to help resolve all the pain, but to help clear the house. of the pain because that was still hanging around. I was like, listen, you need a shaman for this because they're going to go through the ethers and really help in a different way now. And so that was beneficial. That's all I know about shamans. So if you're working as a shaman or just the curiosity of how does my work relate to their world, it's all with the soul senses. That's the only way you can access those realms, right? Because um, that's where they exist in those liminal spaces of discovery and soul path and soul trajectory. So cool question, Sandy from Capitola. I'm appreciative of that, but I hope that was helpful. Let's see what else I have. This is from Mimi in Tampa, Florida. I'm excited for this. So this is really interesting. I get a lot of interesting. Y'all, your questions are interesting. This has to do with giving reads, and I'm definitely going to cover more of this when I'm teaching lessons on how to give reads. I'm good at those. So I want to share my knowledge with you. And the question comes in from Mimi, is there such thing as a dark empath? I'll describe myself as an empath who is very compassionate and also perceived as uncaring when I just give the facts like a doctor. It's transitioned that way probably because my boundaries are strong and I don't no longer get swayed by others' needs to maybe lie to themselves or, fib to themselves or tell themselves stories. That's my ad libs. At times I get concerned because I do tons of energy clearing for the collective and hope all their trauma isn't affecting me. I usually do my clearing with Gaia and light codes. Thanks, you're amazing. Mimi, so are you. And I'm grateful for all the work that you're doing on the planet, especially with clearing uh, the collective and everything. We definitely need it. So thank you to you, Mimi, in Florida, and those of you that don't necessarily only do one-on-one work, that the people that do the behind the scenes work like Mimi, trying to clear the collective and do energetic work on these higher vibrational spaces that nobody really is aware of. I'm really grateful for you. I know a lot of people that do that, and it's great. We need you. We need you. Thank you, Mimi. So, is there such thing as a dark empath? I wouldn't call it that, but you can call yourself that if that's what you want. I think actually I would say that in those moments you could actually tell the person that you're giving the information to, listen, I'm just going to give it as I see it. It's like a ticker tape. Here comes the information, and even though it might be touchy subjects that are emotionally upsetting to you, it's going to seem like I'm not caring, but I do. I'm just a very clean vessel of the information, right? You could preface it like that. I think that would be really, really good. And then the other thing is I could suggest that, hold on. Uh, oh, right. I suggest that you also consider in those moments. You know what Spirit's saying to me? There's asking, is there a segue between when you're giving the information and when you're hearing the information or let's say receiving the information, maybe, because maybe it's not always just here. I think you tune in empathically too. Is there a time between when you're receiving the information and when you're delivering it, or is there not that gap time? And the reason they're asking this is because if you're recognizing the information's coming to you and it's something that's uncomfortable that you think, oh, I really feel like I want to work on my compassion in a different way, then you have opportunity in that moment to say to spirit in your head, I hear you, but I need words that express this more compassionately. I've had to do that before on my treatment table when I had people come and I would get stuff that I was like, oh my gosh, this is harsh. How do I say this? You've got to give me better words to say this. This becomes you really nuanced in the skills of mediumship or even, channeling. Channeling is when the information comes through you, comes through you. And it depends who the guide is that's delivering it. If they're not very compassionate or kind in their delivery, it doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that that's how they deliver it. But you have to realize that when you're having a mediumship experience and you're getting the information, it might be coming in in kind of bullet point material, or here's the basics. And then it's up to you to say, can you help me say that kinder? Because I need this to land. Otherwise, they're going to be like, I'm not listening to you, or they're not going to hear it because it seems harsh. So I wouldn't really call you a dark empath. You could call you that if that's what you want, where you're picking up other people's stuff and you're just giving them facts like a doctor. But you can work with that. If it bothers you, then it bothers you. And so if it bothers you, then you can say, help me work on that, and let me be aware of that. And it's not really about you breaking down your boundaries and not letting other people lie. But maybe the cool thing would be is it allows you a greater perspective as a psychic doctor in that way to say, listen, I'm getting that you do this, and this is why, right? Look in their past as to why it brought them to that place so that you can help them compassionately look at where they're at and how they can move forward in their journey. And what this allows is for you to develop real serious rapport with whomever you're getting your information from. If it's just their soul, then you can still do this, right? You can still say, give me the compassionate take on this. Sometimes when I would give reads in the past and I would just deliver content, they would come back a year later still not having any changes made. It's because they didn't have the steps on how to get out of that. Don't forget, if you're saying that you're no longer getting swayed by other people's need to lie to themselves, they might be lying for self-protection, or their own personal betrayal because they've been betrayed in their childhood, or they've had to put up their own walls for their childhood self-defense, and so they've been conditioned to be this way, not only just with what you're picking up, but just with their own mindset. Are you following me still, Mimi? I hope so. So when those situations happen, part of our jobs, I think, as a medium or someone relaying information, is to help guide them as a compassionate teacher to say, listen, this is what I've done, Mimi, in my own read sessions, is I've been like, okay, here's this harsh information. Let me go back and see why that is. And what's been revealed to me are, ooh, chills, are really pivotal moments in their life where they came to that. And so that became more evidence for the read, right? It became more evidence for the read. So I'm really glad you asked this question, Mimi, in Florida. And I think it's coming up for you, not so much for allowing them to receive the way you deliver information, although that could be the case, in which case, do like I said in the beginning, say, listen, I deliver just like, and here it comes. But I think it's also coming up for you to allow yourself to have your heart, beautiful heart open, but, and not have the boundaries affect you and how they're taking the information, but using your empathic skills in a way as to how are they taking the information. Are they taking it so that they can work with it and change? And so if you know that it like just hit them, like I think in the process of giving reads, we're very clear on when something bounces back and they're not able to hear it because of how we said it or whatever, that then we work with spirit to go, how can I say this differently so that it'll sink in, so that they'll be compassionate and loving in their own life, so that they can bring about changes that need to happen so that they can move forward. I mean, as readers and mediums and channelers, our work is service of help. This is even if you're charging money, it's still, you're supposed to help. Otherwise you wouldn't be called to this. And so it's only helpful if it can land. And so I think this is a really long-winded answer to your question, Mimi, but I'm letting spirit guide it. I'm letting spirit guide it. And so it's important. It's important to, while you're delivering the information, to be witness to what's coming through and how it's landing. I think that's one of my greatest skill sets, is I was able to navigate those planes all at once. Like, are they getting it? Are they not getting it? They're not getting it. And I would have this conversation in my head to spirit. Listen, I know you told me to say that, or you showed me it on a screen or whatever. I got it empathically, but they're not hearing it. Can you say it in a different way? And so spirit would give me other samples in their life on why that mattered, or how it would make sense, better sense. And it became powerful and profound. And then word spread that I was really good, like kind of psychic psychotherapy, because I would use these different ways to get the material to them. And so I think you're capable of doing the same, Mimi. It just depends, if you want to do that. Um, so uh, I think that, I just want to tell you, I think April chimed in about ringing in the ear. And April, I've answered this in ClairAudience and in community comments under tinnitus. And I just recently answered this earlier on in the thing. So make sure you look at those places because there's a full on re answering otherwise. But I'm excited that you're here joining in April. Thank you so much because it definitely means spirits contacting you. Wahoo! So, next question. Yeah. Wow, Mimi, I from Florida, I could talk about, giving reads all day, which is why there's going to be a big section on it and probably a book, right? There will be a book. There will. I promise. Maybe I'll meet you at a book signing. Wouldn't that be fun? I'll have to go to Florida, which who doesn't want to go? I mean, you have Disney and everything, please. And you have Mimi. All right. So, Tara from Florida. What? Another Tara from Florida? Yeah, this is a Tara from Florida. I have a question surrounding mental health and chakra blocks. Even if your chakras align with your, wait, even if your chakra that aligns with your mental health is in good working order, so to speak, is it still possible to have a mental illness? Oh, I see. This is a really long letter, and so I'm not going to read the big long letter in this, but Tara, I totally get you and feel you. And it is a great question. It was off of chakra health and the higher chakras, and she's saying that the chakras balanced, but she still has mental health. And if you've watched the videos on chakra health, and some of it I've said you can clear the physical imbalance if you clear the spiritual imbalance. And so she's questioning, um, can all disorders or diseases be fixed by spiritual modalities? And I feel in my work and in my experience and talking to spirits, sometimes yes, sometimes no, but anything's possible. And um and and I want to tell you, we've in the chat, there's a chakra playlist that's been posted that you could watch about the different chakras if you're curious as to what we're talking about. And Tara, I have to tell you, I have incredibly personal experience with bipolar and mental health. It runs in my family in a lot of ways, and I don't want to disclose anybody's confidentiality, but I'm very familiar with this. So this is definitely something I'm familiar with. So I don't mean to laugh other than like, girl, I wish I could talk to you privately, but I can't because I have so much going on. But I would tell you, Tara, that I adore you and I feel you. And I think that I'm reading through your questions. I think that bipolar can definitely come in for spiritual reasons, but also from trauma, genetic, all of these. And I think that, wait a minute, there is a question in here. Let me see. I get confused with my mental health sometimes as being diagnosed bipolar, that if I were to have an energy cleansing or was able to balance the chakra associated, it would be cured. Yeah, I don't know that it necessarily would be. I don't want to do a private read on you right now. Some people it can be, some people not. It frustrates me because I believe in science, of course, but also in spirituality, right with you. And I just wonder for whatever reason, if it's my trauma that caused it, genetic reasons, spiritual path. I think it can be all of the above from my experience. And if it were able to be managed by medicine, which has now been for 5 years, would I still be told I had a chakra imbalance? No, not necessarily. Love that you asked that. Freaking smart of you, Tara. No, not necessarily. It could be that it's balanced because you're processing all these things and you are on medicine, corrective medicine. My throat chakra, I take thyroid medicine, because you can't even get to my past life or my current life stuff. But when people scan, it depends, right? Each week it could change. the balance imbalance, because there might be something coming up in your life that has to do with your specific chakra that you're not dealing with and that you need to deal with. Or, I'm sure if people scanned my head, my crown, my brow chakra, they'd be like, "Wow, you're out." And I'm like, "Yeah, because pollen, right? Pollen." But if I think that genetic or trauma always have these layers, right? I've processed a ton of my childhood trauma, but I think that there still might be some things that are hanging out there that might be, the chakra's not as strong as it could be. When I'm doing the spiritual work, skyrockets out and is totally strong. So I think for me, it's always hard to go, why do bad things happen to us? It's because everybody has free will. And so sometimes, I have, should I even tell you this? Tara, we're friends. I have two titanium hips. I'm like, what the heck? Was it something in the Mississippi water where I grew up, or what? Like, what caused that? And you sit there and you think there's environmental factors to our experiences, there's family lineage, family dynamic, genetic, all these things. We're imperfect and we're perfectly imperfect, as God keeps telling me. And it's just the state of our lives. And it's the state when we experience trauma at the hands of someone else, it's their wounds and pains expressed on us. And, that's why the world would be a much better place if everyone were living from their higher consciousness. We all know this. But I think that you're asking a lot of multiple questions within this. Can we sometimes get illnesses that aren't curable or treatable from spiritual medicine? Absolutely. Totally. That can happen. Um, and how do you know the difference? I think that you apply them. I still do get spiritual healing for my thyroid, or for my throat chakra, even though I'm on thyroid medicine and will now be for the rest of my life. I know people that are on bipolar medicine, and they're probably going to be for the rest of their life. And then, I don't want to say much more because I'm not a doctor. And then you probably hear of people that are only on it for a while and then they're not on it anymore. And there is no rhyme or reason. And I don't want to go into you psychically to recognize what your journey is necessarily. And I think that's part of your self exploration. But I think that do I think all disorders and diseases, do I think they can all be fixed by spiritual modalities? No. I think we come in with some that we're uh, just aligned with to have experiences in this life for whatever reason. And it could be a multitude of reasons, right? Um, it could be a multitude of reasons. Look at this here. So I think that if I were you, it might be interesting, and maybe you've already tried it already, is to find a really good psychic reader or an energy healer, and don't tell them that you have bipolar. Just get on their table and have them do the scans and see what layer of the onion that they can come across to unravel or help you unravel what's ripe for you now. I wish I had the better answer. I wish I had the magic wand that said, yeah, heal it spiritually and it's all physically healed. I think that there's some spiritual teachers that are taking people as far as they can go spiritually with healing possibilities for physical ailments. And I love it. And some people are having spontaneous healings. Miracles happen all the time. I think that some people, it is, once the spiritual imbalance is corrected, then the physical will follow suit. Absolutely. But I think that there are other scenarios where it's a lifetime thing or it's a section of a lifetime thing. I think, yeah, I think a lot about your question. And I just want to hug you, Tara, if you're listening from Florida. How can we accept whether it's curable or not? And how can we move forward knowing that there's something wrong with us that can't be spiritually fixed? I think for me, it's the same how I accept that my trauma even happened. You know, I can't change it. I can't change it. I think you work with the best you possible, and that I know you bring in skills that you have even because of your bipolar, um, and enhance those skills. I think that oftentimes people with bipolar or mental illness are really tapped into areas that can be profound and creative and innovative. And I know I've had questions before about the crown chakra and um, bipolar, or even people that have bipolar with dissociative tendencies or schizophrenic tendencies. Where does that all fall in? I think that and this is not your question, I've gone off track here. But when people have bipolar with schizophrenic tendencies, it's a fine line, right? We always have to treat the schizophrenia, and it's tricky because what if you're hearing voices that are guides? And so it becomes these discernment of, what are they saying? What are you being directed to do? And how are you being directed to live your life? And is it helpful or a hindrance? It's always about discernment. It's always about discernment. I don't know why, unless I did a specific read, why you were brought into this lifetime with that, the issues that you're carrying. I don't know why my soul necessarily had to rub up against someone else's soul that was troubled, that caused trauma for me. Um, I could give you a lot of answers that I've come to, but maybe it's just that it's just how it is, right? Here on Earth. I think that's, you know, I think that's what some of the situations are. So I really am grateful for your question, Tara, from Florida, and I hope this has been helpful in any way, shape, or form. And those of you that are listening, I definitely don't think that these things that we come up with ailments are punishments. Heck no. No, I don't think that starving children on the planet are punishments for lifetimes that were ill. No, 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 no. All of these things. So, what I want to say is we've been having technical difficulties throughout this airing, and so thanks for bearing with us. If I haven't answered your question, it may be because I've addressed it in a lesson within the playlist. So start from the beginning. And I want to let you know that that I'm grateful for you, and I am going to ask you to subscribe so that you can help you keep getting the content. The subscriptions that you click on and follow help me um, in more ways than you'll know. It's the numbers that benefit, and so when you like and share, it's beneficial for me. I've really enjoyed spending this time with you. I'm grateful that you understand that I'm going through pollen allergy issues. So this was not my best time. If you were coming for a reading, I'd postpone and reschedule you because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in a fog, right? I'd take my allergy medicine. Oak is out right now, and it's beautiful where I live, but boy, can it be psychic interference. It's like the worst things for this psychic medium channel person is like pollen season. So I'm glad we stuck it out together. I hope I've answered some of the questions well. There's a ton more. I have a ton more. I have so many more. I have loads more, but I just can't get to them all today, especially with this fog brain that I have for pollen. So I just want to thank you. I'm tuning in to see if there's anything else that might be coming up in the feed of information from any of you. If you want to submit your question in regards to content related questions, not things that I do psychic reads on, even though I kind of trickle in there sometimes if I'm divinely guided to, or your soul is just like grabbing at me. And I see I need to scan you for the answer, because sometimes you ask a content related question and I'll get my answer from source. I'll get my answer from my own repertoire of knowledge, or I'll go into and talk to your guides, or I'll do empathic connection on you to get what it is you're asking. Because sometimes you ask a content related question, but I'm like, that's not really what they want. They want this answer. Or I'll scan the whole audience that's tuning in and hearing this, and I'll be like, "Oh, you need to hear this part, this perspective of this answer." So it's really kind of fun for me to do these lives. I really appreciate you. If you want to submit your own content related question, be sure to go to my website, and you can sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get my free Mesmer mediumship or Mesmer on manifesting guide. That'll be cool. But you can also put the question in click on the website where it says questions, and then you can fill out the form and let me know your first name. And if it's a tricky name to say, please help me by phonetically spelling it. Tell me where you're from. I'd love to know. We've got listeners, and we've got our community. We all have people all over the world listening, and so I'm grateful for you. Really, really, really. My next live stream is going to be June 30th, so stay tuned. It's going to be at the end of June. I've got a lot going on between now and then. I'm in the process of creating new content, which will be really fun. You'll be able to see me instead of B-roll. We've been doing B-roll because I've got a lot of old content that comes from Spotify that was only audio, and I've got this incredible, fabulous YouTube editing team that has put them to video, and I'm so grateful for my whole team. If you didn't know, I've got their information on my website, and they help get all of this to you. And so big shout out to my incredible team. You make me cry. Love it. You help me so much. And you can find them on my website, constancemessmer.com, and you can read about them and what they do. I'm just really grateful. I'm working on a ton of books right now. So if I seem sleepy, it's because I get up really early to write and then field calls and everything, and business calls and that. And so I'm just really grateful. Sonia, I'm so grateful for being guided to you. I appreciate all your content. Much love right back at you, Sonia. I'm really grateful. We were guided to each other. We really were, because I was like, listen, if I'm going to do this work, there better be people out there. So I sent out the light, and people, we all found each other, right? Because I'm really just helping you do you, but just to the fullest extent that you can. I really believe we're all capable of what I do, and I really want to teach you how I work the realms, or how I do the work, both in my personal life and in my professional life. And in my professional life, it's been as a yeah, we did find each other, Sonia, that's right. I work it in my professional life in regards to healing sessions, readings, channelings, mediumship that I used to do for ages and ages. And I do it in my personal life when I just troubleshoot my life and work with my family, or go to through my day-to-day experience. And it's just been really, really beneficial to tune into my soul senses. So I want to encourage you to do the same in your world, and remind you that you're really good at this. You're strong at this stuff. So definitely adore you, appreciate you. I've enjoyed our time together. I cannot wait to do it again. Please subscribe so that you know when it's happening. And tell your friends, because that's how the word will grow, and that's how I'll be able to continue creating this content for you. So, is there anything else, Chris, I should say? Chris is my YouTube guru, techie guru. She's like so wise. So I think that's it, right? I'm like looking at the feed, and I just want to say thank you all. So until next time, thanks for tuning in. Constance Messmer here. I just want to do a shout out of big thanks to all the members. I am so grateful, and all the people dropping in and giving little donations here and there, and super thanks and all that stuff. I really appreciate you. You members, and you people contributing and subscribers, are what helped me bring this content to everyone, really. They both contribute to the cost of production, and I am definitely grateful for that. This stuff is not cheap to put out. Oh my God. Oh my God. So every little bit helps, and I am filled with gratitude that you're stepping up. I am not necessarily a joiner, not usually, but there are environmental issues in other organizations that I do belong to and I contribute to, because I like to see them persevere. And I'm hoping you feel the same about this work. I hope you put it into practice in your life. That's another way that you could spread this work and help change our world, which is what I think it ultimately does. As you know, I think if everyone tuned into their soul senses, the world would be a much better place. So when you subscribe, it's a big yes vote for the content. and it helps spread the work across the planet. So when you put the lessons into practice and subscribe and like and share, you help me help you carry the lesson beyond you and me. And I am just really grateful.
Legally speaking, this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for medical diagnosis, treatment, or the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat a health problem or condition. Always check with your doctor. Thank you.